The cycle I am going to reveal to you tonight is the very rhythm of creation itself. When repeated with understanding and persistence, it will cause reality as you know it to collapse and reshape itself in harmony with your desires. This is not magic, it is law. Consider for a moment, what is it you truly desire? Is it wealth? Is it love? Is it perfect health? Whatever it may be, I tell you with absolute certainty that it already exists in what I call the fourth dimensional world, the world. Your task is not to create it, but to appropriate it through this specific cycle of consciousness. This cycle consists of 4 distinct stages, which when repeated, especially with the intent and persistence of 100 repetitions, as you've asked to understand, will invariably externalize your desire in your 3-dimensional world. Let me elaborate on each stage. The first stage is clarity. You must define with crystal clarity what it is you wish to experience. Vague longings produce vague results. When I say clarity, I mean you must know precisely what you desire in its complete detail. If it is wealth you seek, what exact sum? If it is a relationship, with what qualities? If it is a position, with what specific attributes? Many fail at this first critical step because they say, I want more money or I want better health, without defining the exact state they wish to occupy. Remember, precision in your desire creates precision in its fulfillment. Take a moment now and define your desire with absolute clarity. See it, feel it, know it in its completed form. The second stage is assumption. This is perhaps the most transformative stage of all. Having clarified your desire, you must now assume the feeling of its fulfillment. This is not pretending, this is entering psychologically into the state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. Neville tells you this: if you desire to be wealthy, how would you feel if you were already wealthy? If you desire perfect health, how would you feel if you were in perfect health? That feeling state is what you must capture and assume as true right now. The secret is to occupy the state in consciousness before it is visible to your mortal eye. You must dare to commit yourself completely to this new concept of yourself. You must be willing to die to your present concept of self and be born to your desired concept. This psychological death and rebirth is the essence of true transformation. When I speak of assumption, I am speaking of a definite psychological technique. You must mentally construct a scene which would imply the fulfillment of your desire. Enter that scene. Make it as real as this room is real. Touch the objects in your imagined scene. Listen to the conversations. Smell the aromas. Feel the emotions that would be yours if your desire were now fulfilled. But Neville, you might say, this is merely daydreaming. No, my dear friends, this is not idle fantasy. This is the creative use of imagination, which is God in action within you. For imagination is not something apart from you. It is your very self and the eternal underlying reality of all things. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are actually experiencing what I call a controlled waking dream. This controlled waking dream, when persisted in, will harden into fact. That is law, and nothing can prevent it. The third stage of this transformative cycle is persistence. Having assumed the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you must persist in this new state regardless of appearances. The world may continue to show you evidence of your old state. Your senses may deny the reality of your assumption. Circumstances may seem to contradict your new concept of self. This is the point where most people falter. But I tell you this, the evidence of your senses is only the shadow of past assumptions. Your present environment, your present circumstances, your present bank balance, your present relationships, these are all but reflections of states previously occupied in consciousness. They have no power to persist when you withdraw your attention from them. Persistence does not mean effort or struggle. It means fidelity to your new concept of self. It means remaining faithful to the feeling of your wish fulfilled regardless of appearances. This requires a peculiar form of detachment, indifference to the evidence of your senses, while maintaining an unwavering confidence in the reality of your assumption. When doubt or fear rises, and they will arise, return at once to your clarified desire and your assumption of its fulfillment. Do not fight the doubt or fear, for what you resist persists. Simply redirect your attention to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is true persistence. The fourth and final stage of this cycle is release. Having clarified your desire, assumed the feeling of its fulfillment, and persisted in this assumption, you must now release it completely. By release, I do not mean abandonment of your desire. I mean release of anxiety, release of doubt, release of the when and how your desire will manifest. This release is actually the Sabbath of your creative cycle. It is that point where you rest in the absolute confidence that what you have planted in consciousness must inevitably come to flower in your experience. It is living in the calm assurance that what you have assumed as true in consciousness is now being crystallized in the material world through a series of events you could not possibly devise. Release means you no longer mentally check to see if your desire is coming. You no longer anxiously look for signs of its manifestation. You no longer discuss it with others seeking validation. You have planted the seed, and now you allow the divine process to bring it to harvest in its own perfect timing. These 4 stages, clarity, assumption, persistence, and release, constitute the complete cycle which, when repeated, especially 100 times as you've suggested, will inevitably cause reality to collapse and reshape itself according to your conscious assumption. Now, why 100 repetitions? There is something profound about persistence to this degree. When you repeat this cycle 100 times, you reach a threshold of consciousness. You saturate your entire being with your new concept of self until it becomes your predominant state. Consider the biblical story of the persistent widow who, through her continuous asking, finally received what she sought. Or recall the story of Elijah, who sent his servant 7 times to look for evidence of rain before the drought was broken. These are symbolic representations of the principle I am sharing with you tonight. When you repeat this cycle 100 times, several transformative processes occur simultaneously. First, you wear away all contrary beliefs through sheer persistence. Second, you build tremendous momentum in consciousness. Third, you reach a point where your new state feels more natural than your old state. And fourth, you establish such a deep conviction that the outer world has no choice but to conform to your inner assumption. Let me share with you a personal experience to illustrate this principle. Many years ago, I desired to come to America from Barbados. I had no obvious means of doing so, no money for passage, no connections in America. But I clarified exactly what I desired to lecture on this principle in America. I assumed the feeling of standing before audiences sharing this truth. I persisted in this assumption regardless of the seeming impossibility of my desire. And I released all anxiety about how this would come to pass. I did not do this cycle once or twice. I lived in this assumption constantly. And though it seemed impossible, a series of events occurred that no one could have anticipated, bringing me to America exactly as I envisioned. This was not coincidence. This was law in operation. When you repeat this cycle with intensity and conviction, especially 100 times, you create what I call a psychological climax, the manifestation of your desire, not only possible, but inevitable. You reach a point where doubt cannot survive in your consciousness, where fear finds no foothold, where your new concept of self becomes so real that nothing can dislodge it. Now, let me address a question that may arise in your mind. Must I literally repeat this cycle 100 times in succession? The number 100 represents completeness, thoroughness, absolute conviction. You might perform this cycle formally once in the morning and once in the evening, but carry the feeling throughout your day. Or you might devote an entire day to cycling through these stages repeatedly until your whole being is saturated with the reality of your assumption. The exact method is not as important as the intensity and sincerity with which you perform each repetition. One repetition performed with complete absorption and emotional intensity is worth more than 50 repetitions done mechanically without feeling. Another question you might have is, how long will it take for my desire to manifest? This varies according to several factors: the intensity of your desire, the clarity of your assumption, your fidelity to the new state, and what I call the distance between your present concept of self and your desired concept. Some desires manifest instantly, some within days or weeks, others may take months. But remember this, time is the illusion of consciousness. In the realm of true causation, the fourth dimensional world of consciousness, your desire is already fulfilled the moment you assume it to be so. Its appearance in the three-dimensional world is only the shadow following the substance. Let me now give you a practical method for applying this cycle. Begin tonight as you prepare for sleep. Sleep is the most receptive state of consciousness when the subjective mind is most open to impression. First, clarify exactly what you desire. See it in your mind's eye with perfect clarity. Second, construct a scene which would imply the fulfillment of your desire. Perhaps it is a friend congratulating you, or perhaps it is simply you experiencing the joy of your fulfilled desire. Third, enter this scene completely. Feel its reality. Feel the naturalness of it being so. Feel the gratitude that would be yours if this were now true. And fourth, fall asleep in this assumption, releasing all anxiety about results. As you drift into sleep, while feeling the reality of your fulfilled desire, you are engaging in what I call the law of identical harvest. Just as in nature, a seed always produces after its kind, a state of consciousness always materializes after its kind. Plant the seed of your desire in the fertile soil of sleep, water it with the feeling of reality, and it must produce after its kind. Repeat this process each night without fail. During your waking hours, whenever doubt or contrary evidence appears, gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Do not fight the current circumstances. Simply be faithful to your new assumption. As you persist in this practice, you will notice subtle changes beginning to occur. Perhaps someone will make a remark that aligns with your desire. Perhaps a small opportunity will present itself. These are what I call the first fruits of your assumption. They are signs that the seed you have planted is beginning to germinate. Do not be discouraged if the complete manifestation does not appear immediately. Remember, in nature, there is a gestation period for all seeds. Your psychological seed follows the same law. The invisibility of the process does not indicate its absence. The oak is in the acorn, though invisible to the physical eye. Now, let me tell you why this process works with such mathematical precision. The outer world is nothing more than a projection of your states of consciousness. When you truly grasp this, you will understand that there is nothing to change but yourself. Change your concept of self, and you change your world. This is the true meaning of the biblical statement. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Your mind is not something you possess, it is what you are. When you renew your mind through this cycle of consciousness, you are literally being born anew, and your world must transform accordingly. Reality is infinitely plastic, awaiting the impress of your assumption. It has no existence independent of your consciousness of it. The furniture in this room appears solid and substantial, but modern physics has revealed that it is mostly empty space patterns of energy awaiting interpretation by consciousness. So too is every circumstance and condition in your life. The cycle I have shared with you tonight is not positive thinking, not affirmation, not visualization in the ordinary sense. It is a fundamental law of consciousness that operates with or without your knowledge of it. What makes it powerful when consciously applied is that you are no longer allowing states to be activated in you by default or by circumstance. You are consciously choosing the state from which you experience life. Consider carefully what I am telling you. If consciousness is the only reality, and your assumptions determine which aspects of reality you experience, then mastering the cycle is equivalent to mastering life itself. When you repeat this cycle 100 times with sincerity and emotional intensity, you are programming the very substance of reality. Each repetition strengthens your new self-concept. Each repetition weakens contrary beliefs. Each repetition builds momentum in consciousness. Each repetition moves you closer to the threshold where your assumption must externalize itself in your world. This is why persistence is so crucial. Many give up just before the threshold is reached. They practice for a while, see no immediate results, and abandon their assumption. But had they persisted just a little longer, just a few more repetitions of the cycle, they would have witnessed the collapse of the old reality and the emergence of the new. Think of consciousness as a stream that has been flowing in a particular direction, carving out a deep channel over time. Your habitual thinking, your chronic assumptions about yourself and life have created this channel. To redirect this stream requires persistent effort in the new direction until a new channel is formed. 100 repetitions of this cycle will carve such a channel. Now, I want to address another important aspect of this process, the emotional component. Feeling is the secret. Your assumption must be accompanied by feeling to be effective. Cold, intellectual assumption has little power to transform. But assumption warmed by genuine feeling becomes alive and active. When I speak of feeling, I do not necessarily mean intense emotion. I mean the feeling of naturalness, the feeling of this is so. It is the difference between saying I will be wealthy and feeling I am wealthy. It is the difference between affirming health and feeling the ease and vitality of perfect health. The feeling makes it real in consciousness. This principle is expressed in scripture as, whatever you desire, when you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. Note carefully the present tense, believe that you receive them now, not that you will receive them in the future. This psychological receiving in the present moment is the secret of effective prayer. I tell you a mystery, time exists only in consciousness. Past, present, and future are merely arrangements of events in consciousness. When you assume your desire is fulfilled now, you are actually moving in consciousness to that point in time where your desire is already fulfilled. From that perspective, looking backward, the events that lead to its fulfillment are already completed. This is why release is such an important part of the cycle. When you truly feel your desire is fulfilled now in consciousness, anxiety about its manifestation becomes impossible. You cannot worry about receiving what you have already received. This state of consciousness, repeated 100 times with conviction, creates an unshakable certainty that reshapes reality around you. Let me explain further why repeating this cycle 100 times is so powerful. Consciousness has momentum. Your current life situation has momentum based on years of assumptions. To redirect this momentum requires counter-momentum of sufficient force. Each repetition of this creative cycle builds this counter-momentum. It is like turning a heavy flywheel. The first few turns require great effort and produce little movement. But as you persist, each turn becomes easier, and the flywheel begins to move with increasing speed. Eventually, it turns with its own momentum, and little additional effort is required. So it is with consciousness. The first few repetitions of this cycle may seem to produce little external result, but do not be deceived by appearances. Each repetition is building momentum in consciousness. Each repetition is turning the flywheel. Persist through 100 repetitions, and you will reach the point where your new assumption moves forward under benefits in your outer world. Another benefit of 100 repetitions is the dissolution of doubt. Doubt is the only enemy of your desires. But doubt cannot maintain itself in the face of persistent assumption. When you repeat this cycle 100 times, you simply wear out all contrary beliefs through sheer persistence. Consider the biblical story of the walls of Jericho. The Israelites marched around the city 7 times, and on the 7th day, the walls collapsed. This is a perfect metaphor for what happens when you repeat this cycle of consciousness. The walls of your current reality, built by past assumptions, cannot withstand the persistent march of your new assumption. They must collapse. But remember, the collapse of reality is not destruction, it is rearrangement. The same substance that formed your old reality now reshapes itself to conform to your new assumption. Nothing is lost, all is transformed. Now, let me address what may be your greatest challenge in applying this principle, the evidence of your senses. Your senses will continue for a time to show you evidence contrary to your assumption. This is where most people falter. They assume the feeling of their wish fulfilled today, but tomorrow, when circumstances appear unchanged, they abandon their assumption. This is a fundamental error. Your senses show you only the effects of past assumptions. They cannot show you your present assumption until it has had time to project itself outward as effect. This time lag between assumption and its visible manifestation is the testing point of faith. By faith, I do not mean blind belief. I mean fidelity to your assumption regardless of sensory evidence to the contrary. I mean the courage to remain loyal to your invisible assumption rather than to visible circumstances. This faith, maintained through 100 repetitions of the cycle, will inevitably transform the invisible into the visible. When you look at your current bank balance and it contradicts your assumption of wealth, you must choose which you will accept as reality, the visible bank balance or your invisible assumption. When your body shows symptoms that contradict your assumption of perfect health, you must choose where to place your faith, in the visible symptoms or in your invisible assumption. This choice made consistently in favor of your assumption through 100 repetitions is what causes reality to collapse and reshape itself according to your desire. The visible can persist only as long as you give it life through your attention and belief. Withdraw belief from appearances, transfer it completely to your assumption, and appearances must change. There is another benefit to repeating this cycle 100 times. It creates what I call a new normal in consciousness. After 100 sincere repetitions, your new state begins to feel more natural than your old state. It becomes your default position, your resting place in consciousness. When this occurs, you no longer need to consciously maintain your assumption. It has become part of your self-concept, as natural and effortless as breathing. At this point, manifestation accelerates dramatically because there is no longer any conflict in consciousness. Let me share another personal experience. When I first desired to own my own home in Beverly Hills, it seemed impossible based on my financial circumstances at the time. But I clarified exactly what I desired, the type of home, the location, even the feeling of walking through its rooms. I assumed the feeling of owning this home. I persisted in this assumption despite appearances, and I released all anxiety about how it would come to pass. I repeated this cycle not once or twice, but continuously until the feeling of owning this home became my normal feeling state. I did not constantly affirm I will own a home or struggle to believe it. I simply lived from the assumption that I already owned it. Within a remarkably short time, a series of unexpected events occurred, bringing me the exact home I had imagined in the exact location in a way no one could have planned or predicted. This was not chance or good fortune. This was law in operation. The principle I am sharing with you tonight has been taught in various forms throughout history. In Scripture it is written, "All things whatsoever ye ask in prayer, believing ye shall receive." In more modern terms, we might say consciousness is the only reality. And what you assume as true in consciousness must externalize itself in your world. This principle is not dependent on any particular religion or belief system. It is as practical and demonstrable as any law of physics. Just as gravity operates whether you believe in it or not, this law of consciousness operates with or without your recognition of it. The difference is that while you cannot consciously control gravity, you can consciously control your assumptions. And in doing so, you control the very substance of your experience. This is the true meaning of dominion, not dominion over others, but dominion over your own consciousness, which is dominion over your life. When you repeat this cycle 100 times with sincerity and emotional intensity, you are exercising this dominion its highest form. You are consciously choosing the state from which you will experience life, rather than accepting whatever state is activated in state. Now, let me address what may be another concern. Can I use this principle to help others? Yes, but with an important qualification. You cannot violate another's free will through this principle. You can, however, assume that they are as you desire them to be. If you have a loved one who is ill, do not focus on changing their illness. Instead, assume they are well. Feel the joy and gratitude you would feel if they were already perfectly healthy. See them in your mind's eye full of vitality. Hear their voice strong and clear. Feel their hand warm and firm in yours. By assuming this state for them, you are not manipulating them. You are creating an opportunity in consciousness for them to step into this state if they choose. Your assumption becomes an invasion, not a compulsion. The same applies to relationships, to business dealings, to any interaction with others. Assume they are as you would have them be. not to control them, but to create a state in consciousness to which they can rise if they are willing. Another question that may arise is, what if I have multiple desires? Should I apply this cycle to all of them simultaneously? This is a matter of focus and intensity. I recommend focusing on one primary desire until it manifests, especially when first practicing this principle. Once you have experienced success with one desire, your faith in the principle will be strengthened, making it easier to apply to other desires. Eventually, you will reach a point where you can maintain multiple assumptions simultaneously, but begin with one clear desire. Now, let me share with you a deeper understanding of why reality collapses in your favor when you master this cycle. Reality as you perceive it is not fixed or solid. It is fluid, responsive, and fundamentally mental in nature. What appears solid and unchangeable is actually a pattern of energy held in place by habitual consciousness. When you introduce a new pattern in consciousness through persistent assumption, you create what physicists might call constructive interference with the old pattern. As this new pattern strengthens through repetition, it eventually cancels out the old pattern and establishes itself as the dominant reality. This is not metaphysical speculation. It aligns perfectly with our modern understanding of quantum physics. At the quantum level, particles exist in multiple potential states until observed. The act of observation collapses these potentials into a single experience. Your consciousness, through assumption, is performing this collapse, selecting from infinite potentials the experience that matches your state. The 100 repetitions ensure that your collapse of reality is not random or temporary, but consistent and permanent. Each repetition strengthens the signal, clarifies the pattern, until reality has no choice but to conform. Another way of understanding this process is through the concept of resonance. Every state of consciousness has a unique frequency or vibration. Your current life experience resonates with your habitual state of consciousness. When you change your state through assumption, you change your frequency. At first, this new frequency may be weak compared to your habitual frequency. But as you repeat the cycle, the new frequency strengthens. After 100 sincere repetitions, it becomes dominant. At this point, circumstances, events, people, and conditions that resonate with this new frequency are drawn into your experience, while those that do not resonate fall away. This is the true meaning of the biblical statement. To him who has, more will be given. From him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. It refers not to material possessions, but to states of consciousness. When you establish a state firmly in consciousness through repetition, more of its kind must be given to you. It is law. Now, let me give you some practical guidance on how to structure your 100 repetitions for maximum effectiveness. You might begin with 21 consecutive days of morning and evening practice. Each morning upon waking and each evening before sleep, go through the complete cycle: clarity, assumption, persistence, release. The morning session programs your consciousness for the day. The evening session impresses your subconscious just before sleep, when it is most receptive. After 21 days of this practice, 42 repetitions, you will notice significant shifts in your consciousness and likely in your outer world as well. Continue for another 29 days, bringing your total to 50 days or 100 sessions. By this point, your assumption will have gained tremendous momentum. Many desires will have already manifested, and those that haven't will show unmistakable signs of movement toward manifestation. During this period, it is crucial that you protect your assumption from doubt and contradiction. Be selective about what you read, what you watch, and especially what conversations you engage in. Do not discuss your desire with those who might question or ridicule it. Keep your assumption sacred and private until it manifests. Also, throughout your day, whenever your mind is not actively engaged in necessary tasks, return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Make it your mental home, your resting place. This continuous return, even if brief, reinforces your formal practice and accelerates manifestation. Let me address one more important aspect of this process: detachment. By detachment, I do not mean indifference to your desire. I mean detachment from anxiety about its fulfillment. detachment from the need for specific methods of fulfillment. True detachment comes from absolute confidence in the law. When you know with certainty that what you have assumed in consciousness must externalize itself in your world, anxiety becomes impossible. You rest in the assurance that your desire is already yours and the only place where creation occurs consciousness. This detachment actually accelerates manifestation because it removes resistance. Anxiety, worry, and constant checking for results are forms of resistance that delay manifestation. They imply that you do not yet have what you are assuming to have. This contradiction in consciousness creates confusion in the creative process. When you truly grasp that having the feeling of your wish fulfilled is actually having the wish itself in the one place where all creation begins, you will understand why release is so important. You release not because you're giving up on your desire, but because in consciousness you already possess it. As you cycle through these stages 100 times with sincerity and emotional intensity, you are actually performing a profound act of creation. You are participating consciously in the very process through which all of reality comes into being. You are exercising your divine prerogative as a creative being. This is not egotism or self-aggrandizement. This is recognition of your true nature. For the power of assumption is not a power given to you. It is what you are. You are divine imagination embodied, clothed in human form to experience the fruits of your assumptions. When you assume a state, you are not pretending to be what you are not. You are selecting from infinite potential states one to express and experience. This selection, repeated with conviction 100 times, becomes your dominant state and therefore your dominant experience. The world around you, the circumstances of your life, the events you encounter, these are all shadows, reflections of your state of consciousness. Change the state, repeat the new state 100 times with conviction, and the shadows must change accordingly. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight throughout history. It is the pearl of great price, the treasure hidden in a field, the kingdom within. It is the knowledge that your consciousness is the sole creative power in your experience, and that by controlled imagination, by assumption persisted in, you can transform your entire world. As you apply this cycle, especially through 100 repetitions, you will discover that the universe is infinitely more responsive to consciousness than you had previously recognized. Doors will open that seemed permanently closed. Resources will appear that seemed non-existent. People will enter your life who perfectly align with your new state. Circumstances will arrange themselves to support your assumption in ways no human planning could devise. This is not coincidence or good fortune. This is law in operation. Just as water must flow downhill, reality must conform to your persistent assumption. After 100 sincere repetitions of this cycle, you establish such a clear and powerful pattern in consciousness that reality has no choice but to rearrange itself accordingly. Remember, clarity in your desire, complete assumption of its fulfillment, unwavering persistence regardless of appearances, and perfect release of anxiety about its manifestation. This cycle, repeated with sincerity and emotional intensity, especially 100 times, will inevitably cause reality to collapse and reshape itself in perfect harmony with your assumption. Tonight, as you return to your homes, begin this practice. Do not delay. Do not wait for circumstance to change. Do not wait until you feel more worthy or more prepared. Begin now, for now is the only time there is. The present moment is the only point of power. Define with perfect clarity what you desire. Assume completely the feeling of its fulfillment. Persist in this assumption regardless of appearances. Release all anxiety about its manifestation. And repeat this cycle faithfully until your consciousness is so saturated with the feeling of your fulfilled desire that it becomes your permanent dwelling place. Do this, my dear friends, and I promise you by the law that cannot be broken. Your world must conform to your assumption. Reality must collapse and reshape itself to match the pattern you have established in consciousness. This is not hope or speculation, this is law. As certain as gravity, as reliable as the rising of the sun. You are not a helpless observer of life, you are its creator through the power of conscious assumption. Exercise this power deliberately, persistently, especially through 100 repetitions of this creative cycle, and watch in wonder as reality reshapes itself in perfect harmony with your desire. The choice is yours. The power is yours. The law is yours to command. Begin tonight and step into the life you have imagined. For imagination, persistently exercised through this cycle, especially 100 times, must become reality. That is the promise. That is the law. That is your divine inheritance. Remember, all things are possible to him who believes. Believe by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Repeat this cycle 100 times with sincerity and emotional intensity. And watch as the entire universe conspires to make your assumption your living reality. Consciousness is the one and only reality. Everything else, every circumstance, every condition, every event in your life is but a shadow, a reflection of your states of consciousness. Change the state by persistent assumption, and the reflection must change. This is the simple yet profound truth I leave with you tonight. Apply it faithfully through 100 repetitions of this creative use for your cycle, your transformative power. For when consciousness leads, all of reality must follow. I invite you to consider a profound truth, one that may revolutionize the way you approach life. For too long, many of us have been caught in the ceaseless effort to manifest our desires, believing that we must strive, struggle, and work tirelessly to bring our dreams into reality. But what if I told you that this very effort, this trying so hard, is the very thing standing in the way of your desires? What if I told you that what you seek is already yours, waiting for you to claim it not through toil, but through the quiet assurance of its existence? There is a power within you, an infinite and boundless force that shapes your reality. This power does not respond to frantic effort or desperate striving. Instead, it aligns with the quiet, unwavering belief that what you desire is already a part of your life. Your dreams, your aspirations, your deepest longings, they are not distant, elusive things that you must chase down. They are as close to you as your own breath, waiting for you to acknowledge them as already yours. Consider this: when you plant a seed in the ground, you do not stand over it, willing it to grow with every ounce of your energy. You know without a shadow of a doubt that the seed will sprout and flourish in its own time. You trust the process, confident in the knowledge that the result is inevitable. So too should you trust in the fulfillment of your desires. The moment you conceive of a wish, it is as if you have planted a seed in the fertile soil of your imagination. Your only task is to nurture it with faith, knowing that it will grow and blossom into reality. Stop trying so hard to manifest. Stop wrestling with the universe, pleading and pushing for what you want. Instead, shift your focus. Begin to live in the end. See your desires as already accomplished. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the peace that comes with the realization that what you want is already yours. When you embody this state of mind, when you truly live as though your dreams have already come true, you align yourself with the power that creates worlds. Imagine for a moment the person you would be if everything you desired were already a part of your life. How would you think? How would you feel? How would you act? Hold this image in your mind and let it guide your thoughts and actions. You do not need to strain or struggle. You only need to dwell in the consciousness of your fulfilled desires. This is the secret. The world without is a reflection of the world within. When you change the inner conversation, when you truly believe in the reality of your desires, the outer world must conform to that belief. In this state, there is no need for frantic effort or desperate trying. You become the calm, confident creator of your reality, knowing that all you desire is already yours. You walk through life with a quiet assurance, unbothered by circumstances, undisturbed by appearances. For you know that the invisible power within you is constantly at work, bringing into being the very things you have claimed in your imagination. There is a profound misconception that we must fight against the tides of life, exerting every ounce of energy to bring our dreams into existence. We have been taught to believe that only through relentless effort can we achieve what we desire. But I stand before you today to tell you that this is not the way. The more you struggle, the more you push, the further you drift from the realization of your desires. The truth is that your desires are not something you need to chase, they are something you need to claim. You see, the moment you conceive a desire in your mind, it is not merely a fleeting wish. It is a reality that has already begun to take shape in the unseen realm. Your desires are like seeds planted in the fertile ground of your imagination. They do not require force to grow, they require belief. They require the quiet, unwavering conviction that they are already fulfilled. This is the key to manifestation, not trying hard, but knowing that it is already done. Imagine for a moment that your life is a grand stage, and you are the actor, the director, and the playwright all in one. The script you follow is not one of struggle or striving, but of certainty and assurance. In this script, you do not beg or plead for what you want, you simply assume the role of the person who already possesses it. You move through life with the confidence that comes from knowing that your desires are not a distant dream, but a present reality. How would you act if you knew, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that everything you wanted was already yours? How would you feel? How would you think? This is the state of mind you must cultivate, the state of living in the end. When you live as though your desires are already fulfilled, you align yourself with the very power that brings them into being. This power does not respond to desperate attempts or frantic efforts, it responds to the calm, assured knowing that what you seek is already yours. There is no need to try so hard to manifest. The more you try, the more you affirm that you do not have what you desire. And in doing so, you create resistance that pushes your desires further away. Instead, let go of the struggle. Let go of the need to force things into being. Instead, embrace the state of having. Embrace the feeling that it is already done. This is the secret to effortless manifestation. When you truly believe that your desires are already fulfilled, you begin to see the world differently. You no longer react to circumstances with fear or doubt. You no longer question whether or not you will achieve your dreams. You simply live in the confidence that they are already yours, and the world around you must conform to this belief. This is the law of consciousness. The world reflects back to you what you believe to be true. So, my friends, I urge you to stop trying so hard. Stop the endless striving and struggling. Instead, rest in the quiet assurance that what you seek is already yours. Live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Walk through life with the calm confidence that comes from knowing that you are the creator of your reality, and that reality has already taken shape in accordance with your deepest desires. In this state, you will find that life becomes easier, more joyful, and more abundant. You will no longer be at the mercy of circumstances, but will instead be the master of your own destiny. You will discover that manifestation is not about effort, but about alignment with the truth that what you desire is already yours. The understanding that your desires are already yours is a profound shift in consciousness that can fundamentally change the way you approach life. This concept invites you to see your desires not as distant goals to be achieved through hard work and effort, but as realities that already exist within the unseen realm, waiting to be recognized and claimed by you. When you have a desire, it is not a mere wish or a fleeting thought. It is an indication that what you seek is already a part of your reality. The moment you conceive a desire, the potential for its fulfillment is created simultaneously. This understanding requires a shift from the conventional mindset of I will have to the more powerful mindset of I already have. It is about recognizing that the moment you desire something, the creation of that desire is set into motion. This is not about deluding yourself or engaging in wishful thinking. It is about aligning with the truth that your desires are expressions of possibilities that already exist. By embracing this mindset, you no longer see your desires as something to be achieved in the future, but as something that already belongs to you in the present. This shift from lack to fulfillment is crucial because the way you perceive your desires determines how you interact with them. When you believe that your desires are already yours, you naturally begin to act, think, and feel as though they are part of your current reality. This state of mind is not about pretending or forcing yourself to feel something that isn't true. It's about genuinely embodying the state of having. This means living in a state of gratitude and contentment, as though your desires have already been fulfilled. This state of being creates a powerful resonance within you that aligns with the reality of your desires, drawing them into your experience with ease. The world around you begins to reflect this inner state, and what you once saw as a distant possibility becomes a tangible reality. Understanding that your desires are already yours also means releasing the need to control how and when they will manifest. When you truly believe that what you want is already yours, you no longer feel the need to micromanage every step of the process. Instead, you trust in the natural flow of life, knowing that your desires will unfold in perfect timing. This trust allows you to live with a sense of peace and certainty, free from the anxiety and fear that often accompany the pursuit of goals. You become less concerned with how things will happen and more focused on the knowing that they will happen. The power of belief over struggle is a key principle that challenges the common notion that hard work and effort are the only paths to success. We have been conditioned to think that if we want something, we must push ourselves to the limit, often exhausting our mental and physical resources in the process. However, this approach overlooks a fundamental truth: the power to create our reality lies not in how hard we try, but in how deeply we believe. Belief is the engine that drives manifestation. It is the quiet, unwavering conviction that what you desire is already a reality. When you truly believe in the fulfillment of your desires, you no longer feel the need to struggle or strive. Instead, you align yourself with the outcome you seek, allowing it to come into your life naturally and effortlessly. This doesn't mean that you do nothing, rather. It means that your actions are guided by a sense of certainty and purpose, rather than by fear or desperation. Belief is a powerful force because it shapes your perception of reality. What you believe to be true becomes true for you. If you believe that you must struggle to achieve your desires, then struggle will be a part of your experience. But if you believe that your desires are already yours, then your experience will reflect that belief. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions will naturally align with the reality you have chosen to believe in, and the outer world will conform to this inner state. The power of belief also lies in its ability to bypass the limitations of the rational mind. The mind often gets caught up in the how and when of manifestation, creating doubt and uncertainty. But belief transcends these limitations. It doesn't concern itself with the details of how something will happen, it simply knows that it will happen. This kind of belief creates a sense of ease and flow in your life, allowing you to move through the world with confidence and grace. In essence, the power of belief over struggle is about shifting from a mindset of scarcity and lack to one of abundance and fulfillment. It's about recognizing that the effort you put into trying to manifest your desires is often counterproductive, because it stems from a place of doubt. When you believe deeply and truly in the reality of your desires, you no longer need to struggle. You can relax into the knowing that what you seek is already yours, and that the universe is working in perfect harmony to bring it into your experience. Living in the end is a transformative approach to life that reshapes how we engage with our desires and aspirations. This concept encourages us to mentally and emotionally occupy the state of already having achieved what we desire, rather than focusing on the process of getting there. It is about embodying the feeling of the wish fulfilled, living from the perspective that what you desire is already a reality. This shift in perspective has profound implications, as it directly influences how we think, feel, and act. When you live in the end, you are not just imagining your desired outcome, you are fully immersing yourself in the experience of having it. This requires you to cultivate the emotions, thoughts, and behaviors that you would naturally have if your desire were already realized. For example, if your goal is to achieve financial abundance, living in the end would mean feeling the security, freedom, and peace of mind that comes with having financial stability, even if your current circumstances do not yet reflect that reality. You would begin to make decisions, take actions, and think in ways that are consistent with someone who is already financially abundant. This approach is rooted in the understanding that our external reality is a reflection of our internal state. By living in the end, you align your inner world with the reality you wish to experience. This alignment is powerful because it sends a clear message to your subconscious mind and to the universe you are ready to receive what you desire. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions are congruent with the end result, The universe responds by rearranging circumstances, events, and opportunities to match your inner state. One of the key aspects of living in the end is the emotional resonance it creates. Emotions are a powerful driving force in the manifestation process. When you consistently feel the emotions associated with your desired outcome, you create a vibrational match between your current state and the state of your fulfilled desire. This emotional alignment is what draws your desire into your experience. It's important to note that this is not about forcing yourself to feel something you don't genuinely feel, rather. It's about gradually shifting your emotional state by focusing on thoughts and images that evoke the feelings you would have if your desire were already fulfilled. Living in the end also involves letting go of the attachment to how and when your desire will manifest. When you are fully immersed in the state of already having your desire, you no longer worry about the details of how it will come to be. You trust that the universe will handle the specifics, and you remain focused on maintaining the inner state of fulfillment. This detachment from the outcome paradoxically accelerates the manifestation process because it removes the resistance that often comes with overthinking and overanalyzing. Another important aspect of living in the end is the impact it has on your self-concept. When you see yourself as the person who already has what you desire, your self-image begins to shift. You start to identify with the version of yourself who has already achieved your goals. And this new self-concept influences every aspect of your life. Your beliefs, habits, and behaviors naturally begin to align with your new self-image, making it easier to take the actions necessary to bring your desire into physical reality. Living in the end also changes how you respond to challenges and setbacks. When you are anchored in the feeling of your wish fulfilled, obstacles no longer have the same power to derail you. You see them as temporary and insignificant in the grand scheme of your overall vision. This resilience comes from the deep knowing that your desired outcome is inevitable. You no longer react to external circumstances with fear or doubt because your inner state of fulfillment is so strong that it overrides any temporary setbacks. It's also important to recognize that living in the end is not about ignoring your current reality or pretending that challenges don't exist. Instead, it's about holding a dual awareness, acknowledging your present circumstances while simultaneously maintaining the inner conviction that your desired outcome is already a reality. This dual awareness allows you to navigate the present moment with grace and confidence, knowing that your outer reality will eventually catch up with your inner state. Living in the end requires practice and consistency. It's not something that happens overnight, but with regular focus and intention, it becomes easier to maintain the state of the wish fulfilled. Visualization can be a powerful tool in this process. By regularly visualizing yourself in the scene of your fulfilled desire, you strengthen your ability to live in the end. Over time, this practice helps to reprogram your subconscious mind, making the state of fulfillment your default mode of being. So, in summary, living in the end is a profound approach to manifestation that involves fully embodying the state of having already achieved your desires. It requires you to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the reality you wish to experience, creating a powerful resonance that draws your desires into your life. By maintaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled and letting go of attachment to the how and when, you accelerate the manifestation process and bring your desires into physical reality with greater ease and grace. Letting go of effort and resistance is a crucial step in the manifestation process that often goes against our conventional understanding of how to achieve our goals. We are typically taught that hard work, effort, and persistence are the keys to success. While these qualities can certainly play a role, there is a point at which effort can become counterproductive, creating resistance that actually blocks the manifestation of our desires. Effort, in the context of manifestation, often stems from a place of lack of fear. When we try too hard to make something happen, it's usually because we don't believe that it will happen on its own. But this lack of belief creates a sense of urgency and desperation, which manifests as excessive effort. However, this kind of effort is rooted in a belief that we do not already have what we desire, and as a result, it reinforces the very lack we are trying to overcome. Resistance is the mental and emotional tension that arises when we believe that we have to struggle or fight for what we want. This resistance can take many forms, such as doubt, fear, impatience, or frustration. When we encounter obstacles or challenges, resistance often intensifies, leading us to push even harder. However, this approach can create a cycle of resistance, where the more we try to force things to happen, the more they seem to resist our efforts. Letting go of effort and resistance involves shifting from a mindset of force to one of flow. Instead of trying to control every aspect of the manifestation process, we learn to trust in the natural unfolding of our desires. This doesn't mean that we stop taking action altogether, rather. It means that our actions are inspired and aligned with the state of having, rather than driven by fear or desperation. One of the first steps in letting go of effort and resistance is recognizing when we are in a state of struggle. This requires self-awareness and honesty. We need to be able to identify when our efforts are coming from a place of lack rather than abundance. When we notice that we are trying too hard, it's a signal that we need to step back, relax, and reconnect with the feeling of our wish fulfilled. Letting go also involves releasing the need to control the outcome. This can be one of the most challenging aspects of the process, especially if we are used to being in control. However, true manifestation requires us to trust that the universe knows the best way to bring our desires into reality. This trust allows us to let go of the how and when, focusing instead on maintaining the inner state of fulfillment. Another important aspect of letting go of effort and resistance is embracing a mindset of ease and grace. This means approaching the manifestation process with a sense of lightness and playfulness, rather than with seriousness and intensity. When we take things too seriously, we create unnecessary tension and stress, which can block the flow of manifestation. By adopting a more relaxed and joyful attitude, we open ourselves up to receive our desires with greater ease. It's also important to understand that letting go of effort and resistance does not mean giving up or becoming passive. On the contrary, it's about shifting from a mindset of force to one of alignment. When we are aligned with our desires, we naturally take inspired actions that feel effortless and joyful. These actions are not driven by a need to prove ourselves or to make something happen. They are guided by our inner knowing that our desires are already ours. Letting go of effort and resistance also involves cultivating patience and trust in the timing of the universe. Often when we try too hard to manifest something, it's because we are impatient and want immediate results. However, the manifestation process operates on its own timeline, and sometimes what we desire requires time to unfold. By trusting in divine timing, we can let go of the need to rush or force things, allowing our desires to come into our lives at the perfect moment. Letting go of effort and resistance requires a deep commitment to self-care and well-being. When we are overly focused on manifesting our desires, we can easily neglect our physical, emotional, and mental health. However, taking care of ourselves is essential to the manifestation process. When we are relaxed, balanced, and in a state of well-being, we are more open and receptive to the flow of manifestation. Self-care practices such as meditation, mindfulness, exercise, and spending time in nature can help us release resistance and return to a state of ease. Aligning with the feeling of fulfillment is a cornerstone of successful manifestation. It involves more than just thinking positively or visualizing your desires. It's about fully embodying the emotions, thoughts, and actions of someone who has already achieved what they want. This alignment creates a powerful resonance with the reality you seek to create, drawing it into your experience with greater ease and certainty. To align with the feeling of fulfillment, it's essential to understand that emotions are not just fleeting reactions, but are integral to shaping your reality. Emotions are the energy in motion that signal to the universe what you are experiencing internally. When you feel joy, gratitude, and satisfaction, you are broadcasting a frequency that attracts experiences and circumstances that match those feelings. Conversely, when you feel lack, frustration, or doubt, you are inadvertently attracting more of those experiences into your life. The first step in aligning with the feeling of fulfillment is to cultivate a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude is a powerful emotion that can instantly shift your focus from what you lack to what you already have. When you focus on what you are grateful for, you acknowledge the abundance in your life, no matter how small it may seem. This acknowledgement sends a signal to the universe that you are open to receiving more of what you desire.
It's important to practice gratitude not just for the things you already have, but also for the things you want, as if they have already manifested. This practice aligns your energy with the state of having rather than wanting, which is crucial for manifestation. Another key aspect of aligning with the feeling of fulfillment is to engage in visualization. Visualization is not just about imagining a picture of your desired outcome, it's about immersing yourself in the sensory experience of having it. When you visualize, see, hear, and feel what it would be like to live in your desired reality. Engage all your senses in the process. For example, if you are visualizing a new home, imagine walking through each room, feeling the textures of the furniture, smelling the fresh paint, and hearing the sounds that would be present in that environment. The more vivid and detailed your visualization, the more real it will feel to your subconscious mind, which cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It's also important to act as if your desire is already manifested. This doesn't mean pretending or living beyond your means, but rather adopting the mindset, habits, and behaviors of someone who has already achieved what you want. For instance, if you are seeking financial abundance, start managing your current finances with the care and attention of someone who is already wealthy. Make decisions from a place of abundance rather than lack. This alignment in actions reinforces the feeling of fulfillment and helps bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. One of the challenges in aligning with the feeling of fulfillment is dealing with the gap between your current reality and your desired outcome. It's natural to notice the difference, but it's important not to dwell on it. When you focus too much on the absence of what you want, you reinforce the feeling of lack, which can delay the manifestation process. Instead, whenever you notice the gap, use it as an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment to the feeling of fulfillment. Remind yourself that the gap is only temporary and that your desired outcome is already on its way to you. Aligning with the feeling of fulfillment also requires consistency. It's not enough to feel fulfilled sporadically or only when things are going well. You must cultivate this feeling consistently, even in the face of challenges or delays. This doesn't mean denying your emotions or pretending to be happy when you're not, but it does mean making a conscious effort to return to the feeling of fulfillment as often as possible. Practices such as meditation, affirmations, and journaling can help you maintain this alignment over time. In essence, aligning with the feeling of fulfillment is about living from the inside out. It's about making your internal state the primary reality and trusting that the external world will eventually catch up. When you consistently align with the feeling of having what you desire, you create a magnetic force that draws that reality into your life. This alignment not only accelerates the manifestation process, but also brings you a deep sense of peace and contentment, knowing that what you seek is already yours. Manifestation through calm assurance is a powerful approach that emphasizes the importance of a relaxed, confident mindset in the process of creating your desired reality. Unlike traditional methods that may focus on intense effort, willpower, or constant striving, calm assurance relies on a deep, unshakable belief that what you desire is already on its way to you. This mindset allows you to navigate the manifestation process with grace, patience, and certainty, free from the anxiety and stress that often accompany the pursuit of goals. At the heart of calm assurance is the understanding that the universe is always responding to your state of being. When you are calm and assured, you are signaling to the universe that you trust in the unfolding of your desires. This trust is crucial because it eliminates resistance and opens the channels through which your desires can flow into your life. Resistance often arises from doubt, fear, or impatience emotions that signal to the universe that you are not fully aligned with the reality you seek to create. By cultivating calm assurance, you replace these lower vibrations with a sense of ease and certainty, allowing the manifestation process to proceed smoothly. One of the key components of calm assurance is the ability to detach from the outcome. Detachment doesn't mean that you don't care about your desires or that you're indifferent to whether they manifest. Rather, it means that you are not obsessively attached to how and when they will manifest. You trust that the universe has its own timing and that everything will unfold perfectly. This detachment frees you from the need to control every aspect of the process, allowing you to relax and enjoy the journey. When you are detached from the outcome, you can focus on maintaining a positive, expectant state of being, knowing that what you desire is inevitable. Calm assurance also involves a deep sense of self-confidence and self-worth. When you believe in your own value and your ability to create your desired reality, you naturally radiate an energy of calm confidence. This energy is magnetic and attracts opportunities, resources, and people that support the manifestation of your desires. Confidence in your ability to manifest comes from understanding that you are a co-creator with the universe, that you have the power to shape your reality through your thoughts, feelings, and actions. When you fully embrace this power, you no longer feel the need to force things to happen instead. You trust that your desires are being brought to you in the perfect way. Another important aspect of calm assurance is patience. Patience is not just about waiting, it's about maintaining your calm and positive state of being while you wait. It's about trusting that the universe is working behind the scenes, even when you don't see immediate results. Patience allows you to remain centered and focused on your desired outcome, without becoming discouraged or anxious. It's important to remember that the manifestation process often involves a gestation period, where your desires are being prepared to come into physical form. During this time, your job is to stay calm, assured, and aligned with the feeling of fulfillment. Calm assurance also requires a shift in focus from the external world to your inner state. In the process of manifestation, it's easy to get caught up in external circumstances, especially when things don't seem to be going your way. However, the key to calm assurance is to focus more on your internal state than on external conditions. This means prioritizing how you feel and think over what you see in your external reality. By maintaining a calm and assured inner state, you create a stable foundation that is not easily shaken by external events. This inner stability is what allows you to continue moving forward with confidence, even in the face of challenges. One of the practical ways to cultivate calm assurance is through mindfulness and meditation. These practices help you stay grounded in the present moment, reduce stress, and connect with your inner sense of peace. When you meditate, you create a space where you can detach from the busyness of the mind and reconnect with the deep, calm center within you. This practice reinforces the feeling of calm assurance and helps you maintain it throughout your day. Another way to cultivate calm assurance is to engage in positive self-talk and affirmations. Affirmations such as "I trust in the perfect unfolding of my desires" or "everything is working out for my highest good" can reinforce your sense of calm and confidence. By regularly affirming your belief in the manifestation process, you strengthen your ability to remain calm and assured, even when external circumstances seem uncertain. Calm assurance is also closely linked to the practice of surrender. Surrendering to the flow of life means letting go of the need to control and trusting that everything is happening for your highest good. It means allowing the universe to guide you, knowing that it has a broader perspective and that it knows the best way to bring your desires into your life. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about letting go of resistance and allowing the natural flow of life to carry you toward your goals. Manifestation through calm assurance is about cultivating a relaxed, confident mindset that trusts in the natural unfolding of your desires. It involves detachment from the outcome, a deep sense of self-confidence, patience, and a focus on maintaining a positive inner state. By aligning with the energy of calm assurance, you eliminate resistance and create a powerful magnetic force that draws your desires into your life. This approach not only accelerates the manifestation process, but also brings a sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment, knowing that what you desire is already on its way to you. In conclusion, the journey of manifestation is not one of relentless struggle or desperate striving, but one of deep inner alignment, calm assurance, and unwavering trust. When you shift your focus from trying hard to manifest your desires to embodying the state of already having them, you unlock the true power within you to create your reality. By living in the end, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the fulfillment you seek, allowing the universe to respond in kind, letting go of effort and resistance, and instead embracing a mindset of ease and flow, opens the door to effortless manifestation. As you cultivate the feeling of fulfillment and maintain a calm, assured mindset, you create a magnetic force that draws your desires into your life with grace and certainty. Remember, manifestation is not about forcing outcomes or controlling every detail. It's about trusting the process, believing in your own power, and allowing the universe to work in perfect harmony with your intentions. As you move forward, carry with you the knowledge that what you seek is already yours. Live from that place of fulfillment and watch as your world transforms to reflect the reality you have claimed within.
Consider, if you will, the nature of your desires. What is it that you truly want? Is it abundance in all its forms? Is it love that fills your heart to overflowing? Is it the realization of your grandest dreams? Whatever it may be, I tell you now with absolute certainty, it is already yours. Yes, you heard me correctly. Everything you desire is already in your possession, waiting for you to claim it in your consciousness. You see, the world of Caesar, this physical realm we inhabit, is but a shadow, a reflection of the true reality that exists within your imagination. It is in that sacred inner world where all things are possible, where all dreams are real, and where you are the master of your destiny. When you learn to act as if you have everything, you are not pretending or deceiving yourself. You are in fact aligning yourself with the truth of your being. Let us pause for a moment and truly contemplate this idea. Close your eyes, if you will, and imagine yourself in possession of everything you have ever wanted. Feel the weight of abundance in your hands. Sense the warmth of love enveloping your entire being. Experience the exhilaration of living your dreams in vivid detail. This, my dear friends, is not an exercise in futility. This is the very act of creation itself. As you sit there, eyes closed, fully immersed in the reality of your desires fulfilled, you are tapping into the infinite power of your imagination. You are at this very moment planting the seeds of your future in the fertile soil of the present. For what is imagination if not the very substance of things hoped for? The evidence of things not yet seen in the world of Caesar? Now, open your eyes and look around you. The world may appear unchanged, but I assure you a profound shift has occurred within you. You have, for a brief moment, lived in the end. You have experienced the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And it is this feeling, this unwavering knowing, that will bridge the gap between your present circumstances and the realization of your desires in the physical world. But let us not be content with mere glimpses of our desired reality. The art of acting as if you have everything requires consistent practice, unwavering faith, and a willingness to persist in the face of apparent contradictions. It demands that you maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled, not just in moments of quiet contemplation, but in every waking moment of your day. Imagine, if you will, a man who desires great wealth. He does not hope for riches. He does not wish for prosperity. He knows with every fiber of his being that he is wealthy beyond measure. How does this man carry himself? How does he speak? How does he think and feel about money? Does he worry about lack? Does he fret over bills? Does he deny himself the pleasures of life out of fear of scarcity? No, my friends, this man walks with the confidence of a king. He speaks with the authority of one who commands infinite resources. He thinks and feels abundantly, seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. He is generous, knowing that his wealth is limitless. He enjoys the fruits of his prosperity without guilt or hesitation, for he understands that abundance is his birthright. This man is not play acting or fooling himself. He is living from the end, experiencing in his imagination the reality he wishes to manifest. And in doing so, he aligns himself with the creative forces of the universe, setting in motion a series of events that will bring his imaginal act into physical fruition. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, how can I act as if I have everything when my current reality shows me lack? How can I feel wealthy when my bank account is empty? How can I feel loved when I am alone? These are natural questions born from a lifetime of accepting the illusion of external reality as the ultimate truth. But I say to you with all the conviction of my being that your external reality is nothing more than a shadow of your past thoughts and beliefs. It is the fruit of seeds planted in your imagination in days gone by. And just as surely as those thoughts created your present circumstances, your current thoughts and imaginings are creating your future reality. Therefore, to act as if you have everything is not to deny your present circumstances, but to rise above them. It is to understand that your true self your God self, exists in a realm where all things are possible, where time is fluid, and where your desires are already fulfilled. When you act from this understanding, you are not pretending, you are claiming your divine inheritance. Consider the biblical phrase before they call, I will answer. This is not some distant God responding to our pleas. This is the promise of your own divine nature, assuring you that everything you could ever desire already exists in the realm of infinite possibilities. Your task is simply to align your consciousness with that reality, to live from the end, to act as if you already possess everything you want. But how, you may ask, does one begin this practice? How does one act as if they have everything in the face of apparent lack? The answer, my dear friends, lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. Your imagination is the very workshop wherein you fashion the images of the world you wish to inhabit. It is the canvas upon which you paint the masterpiece of your life. Begin by selecting a scene, a short, simple scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. If you wish for wealth, perhaps it is the scene of you looking at a bank statement with a balance that thrills you. If you seek love, it might be the feeling of your beloved's arms around you as you fall asleep. Whatever your desire, create a scene that, if it were true, would imply the fulfillment of that desire. Now enter that scene in your imagination. Do not merely visualize it as if watching a movie. Step into it. Be the protagonist in this drama of your creation. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, smell the scents. Make it as real and as vivid as you possibly can. And most importantly, feel the emotion, the joy, the gratitude, the love that this fulfilled desire brings you. Repeat this imaginal act night after night, day after day. Let it be the last thing you experience before drifting off to sleep, and the first thing you return to upon waking. Live in this state as often as you can, for in doing so you are living from the end. You are acting as if you have everything. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your outer world. Opportunities may arise that were not there before. People may treat you differently, responding to the new vibration you are emitting. You may find yourself naturally taking actions that align with your desire, without conscious effort or strain. These changes, my friends, are not coincidences. They are the bridge of incidents, the series of events that must occur to bring your imaginal act into physical reality. Do not question them. Do not doubt them. Simply accept them with gratitude, knowing that they are confirmation of the truth you have accepted in your imagination. But what of those moments when doubt creeps in? What of those times when the world of Caesar seems to mock your efforts, presenting you with evidence that contradicts your imaginal act? This, beloved, is where your faith is tested and strengthened. Remember, the outer world is a shadow, a reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. It takes time for this shadow to fully align with your new state of consciousness. During this period of transition, you must stand firm in your conviction. You must persist in your assumption that you already have everything you desire. When doubt arises, do not fight it. Do not resist it. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and then gently return to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Remind yourself that your imagination is the reality, and that the world of Caesar must conform to it in due time. For it is written, the vision has its own appointed hour. It ripens, it will flower. If it be long, then wait, for it is sure and it will not be late. As you continue to act as if you have everything, you will find that your entire being begins to shift. Your thoughts naturally align with abundance. Your words reflect the reality of your fulfilled desire. Your actions spring from a place of confidence and certainty. You no longer hope for a better future. You live it now in the eternal present of your imagination. This, my dear friends, is the art and science of creation. It is the method by which you can transcend the limitations of your current circumstances and step into the life you truly desire. It is not magic, though its results may seem magical. It is not wishful thinking, though it begins with a wish. It is the practical application of the creative power that resides within you, the power that is your divine birthright. As we delve deeper into this practice, let us consider the nature of time itself. In the world of Caesar, time appears linear, a straight line stretching from past to future, with the present as a fleeting point of transition. But in the realm of imagination, in the kingdom of God within you, time is fluid. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously, and you have the power to select the reality you wish to experience. When you act as if you have everything, you are essentially stepping out of the linear time of Caesar and into the eternal now of imagination. You are selecting from the infinite possibilities that exist the reality that aligns with your desire. And as you dwell in that reality in your imagination, you draw it into your physical experience. Consider the words of Scripture: with God, all things are possible. This is not a statement about some external deity. It is a profound truth about the nature of your own being. For you are one with God, one with the creative power of the universe. When you tap into this power through your imagination, truly anything becomes possible. But my beloved listeners, I must caution you. This power is not to be used frivolously or for the harm of others. For in harming others, you only harm yourself. Remember, there is no other in the ultimate reality. We are all one, all expressions of the same divine consciousness. Therefore, use this power wisely for the betterment of all. As you practice acting as if you have everything, you may find that your desires themselves begin to shift. What once seemed important may lose its luster. What you thought you wanted may pale in comparison to the infinite possibilities you now perceive. This is natural and beautiful. It is a sign of your expanding consciousness, your growing awareness of your true nature. Embrace these shifts. Allow your imagination to soar beyond the confines of your current desires. For in truth, the ultimate aim of this practice is not merely to acquire things or experiences, but to fully realize your oneness with the divine. It is to know beyond all doubt that you are the creator of your reality, that you are limitless, that you are, in essence, God expressing itself as you. Now let us address a question that may have arisen in your minds. If I am to act as if I have everything, does this mean I should ignore my current circumstances? Should I pretend that my problems don't exist? The answer, my friends, is both yes and no. You see, ignoring your current circumstances or pretending they don't exist is not the same as acting as if you have everything. To truly act as if you have everything requires a shift in consciousness so profound that your current circumstances cease to have power over you. You acknowledge them, but you do not give them the power to define your reality. Imagine, if you will, a great actor on the stage. When they step into a role, they do not pretend to be the character. They become the character. Every gesture, every word, every thought flows from the reality of the character they are portraying. Yet, at the same time, the actor knows that they are not truly that character. They can step out of the role at any time. This is how you must approach your current circumstances. Acknowledge them as you would acknowledge the set on the stage, but do not let them define you. Know that you can step out of this role at any time by shifting your consciousness to the reality of fulfilled desire. As you practice this, you will find that your reaction to your current circumstances begins to change. What once caused you stress or anxiety may now be met with calm detachment. For you know that these circumstances are not your true reality. They are merely shadows of past thoughts, soon to be replaced by the manifestation of your new, empowered state of consciousness. But remember, my dear friends, this is not about escaping reality. It is about creating a new reality. It is about understanding that what you perceive as reality is fluid, changeable, responsive to your consciousness. When you truly grasp this, when you live from this understanding, you are acting as if you have everything in the truest sense. Now let us delve deeper into the practical aspects of this practice. How does one maintain this state of consciousness throughout the day, amidst the demands and distractions of daily life? The key lies in cultivating a new habit of thought, a new way of perceiving and interacting with the world around you. Begin each day by immersing yourself in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Before you open your eyes in the morning, spend a few moments living in the end, experiencing the joy and gratitude of having everything you desire. Let this feeling permeate your entire being so that you carry it with you as you rise and begin your day. As you go about your daily activities, continuously remind yourself of your true state, the state of having everything. When challenges arise, ask yourself, how would I respond to this if I truly had everything I desire? This simple question can shift your perspective dramatically, allowing you to approach situations from a place of abundance and power rather than lack and limitation. Practice gratitude for everything in your life, not from a place of need, but from a place of abundance. Be thankful not for what you hope to receive, but for what you know is already yours in the reality of your imagination. This attitude of gratitude aligns you with the frequency of abundance, drawing more reasons to be grateful into your life. Watch your words carefully, for they are powerful creators. Speak as the person who has everything would speak. Eliminate phrases of lack or limitation from your vocabulary. Instead of saying, I can't afford that, say, that's not a priority for me right now. Instead of saying, I'm trying to find love, say, I am loved deeply and completely. Your words shape your reality. Choose them wisely. In your interactions with others, carry yourself with the confidence and ease of someone who wants for nothing. This doesn't mean being arrogant or boastful. Rather, it means exuding a quiet confidence, a sense of inner peace and satisfaction that naturally draws people and opportunities to you. When you find yourself slipping back into old patterns of thought or behavior, do not berate yourself. Simply observe it, acknowledge it, and gently guide your consciousness back to the state of having everything. Remember, this is a practice. Like any skill, it takes time and patience to master. Be kind to yourself as you learn and grow. As you persist in this practice, you will begin to notice a profound shift in your perception of the world. What once seemed impossible will start to feel inevitable. What once caused you anxiety will be met with calm assurance. You will find yourself naturally taking inspired action, effortlessly moving towards the realization of your desires in the world of teaser. But here, my beloved listeners, is where many stumble. As they begin to see evidence of their imaginal act manifesting in the physical world, they become excited and anxious. They start to wonder when their desire will fully manifest. They look for signs and try to figure out how it will happen. In doing so, they slip out of the state of the wish fulfilled and back into the state of wanting and seeking. This is a crucial point in your journey. When you begin to see the bridge of incidents forming, when you notice the world rearranging itself to accommodate your new reality, you must hold steady in your assumption. Do not be moved by appearances. Do not try to figure out how your desire will manifest. Simply continue to live from the end, knowing with unshakable faith that what you have imagined must come to pass. Remember the words of Scripture, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your faith, your absolute knowing that you have everything you desire, is the very substance that brings your desire into physical manifestation. It is the evidence of the unseen reality that exists in your imagination. As you continue to act as if you have everything, you may find that your relationship with desire itself begins to change. You may discover that the joy you sought in the fulfillment of your desires was available to you all along. For in truth, the state of having everything is not about possessing things or experiences. It is a state of consciousness, a way of being in the world. When you truly embody this state, you realize that there is nothing to seek, nothing to strive for. Everything you could ever want or need is already within you, waiting to be expressed. This realization brings a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. You no longer chase after desires, for you know that you are the source of all desires and their fulfillment. This, my dear friends, is the ultimate freedom. It is the state of being that all spiritual teachings point towards. It is the kingdom of heaven that is within you. When you act as if you have everything, you are claiming your rightful place in this kingdom. You are acknowledging your oneness with the divine, your role as a co-creator of reality. But let us be clear. This state of consciousness does not mean that you cease to have preferences or that you become passive in the world. On the contrary, when you act as if you have everything, you are free to engage with life fully, to express your unique gifts and talents without fear or limitation. You become a channel for the infinite creativity of your universe, bringing forth new ideas, new experiences, new manifestations of love and beauty into the world. As we near the end of our time together, I want to address a question that may have arisen in your minds. If I am to act as if I have everything, does this mean I should never set goals or make plans for the future? The answer, my beloved, is that goals and plans take on a new meaning when you live from this state of consciousness. You see, when you act as if you have everything, your goals are no longer desperate attempts to fill a perceived lack. They become joyful expressions of your infinite potential. Your plans are not rigid roadmaps to a distant future, but fluid, inspired actions arising from your alignment with the divine flow of life. In this state, you may find that you accomplish more than you ever thought possible, yet with less struggle and strain, for you are no longer pushing against the current of life, but flowing with it. You are no longer trying to make things happen, but allowing them to unfold naturally from your expanded state of consciousness. And so, my dear friends, as we conclude this exploration of acting as if you have everything, I urge you to take this practice into your daily life. Begin now in this very moment to live from the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the love that comes from knowing that everything you desire is already yours. Remember, this is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning yourself with the deepest truth of your being. It is about claiming your divine inheritance as a creator of reality. It is about living from the understanding that you are one with the infinite power that creates worlds. As you leave this place and return to your daily lives, carry with you the knowledge that you have everything. Let it inform your thoughts, your words, your actions. Let it transform your perception of the world and your place in it. For in truth, you are not separate from the world. You are the world experiencing itself through your unique perspective. Act as if you have everything and watch as the world rearranges itself to match your assumption. Live from the end and see how the path to that end unfolds before you. Be the person who has everything and discover that you have always been that person waiting to be acknowledged and expressed. Go forth, my beloved, and create the life you desire. For you are the operant power. You are the divine made flesh. You are the creator of your reality. Everything you could ever want or need is already within you. Claim it, live it, be it. And always remember the world is yourself pushed out. As you transform your inner world, your outer world must follow. This is the law. This is the promise. This is the truth that sets you free. Thank you, my dear friends, for your attention and your willingness to explore these profound truths. May you go forth in the knowing that you are loved, that you are powerful beyond measure, and that you have everything. For you are, in truth, everything. God bless you all.